everyone, and welcome to Lying Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. I am Carol Kearns. My husband, Harry Shue, is our co-host. Our mission for the show is twofold: to provide information about Connecticut Lions events and to showcase the many different organizations and causes that Lions support locally, regionally, and internationally. Harry?
Good evening and welcome. Please consult our website at www.lions23b.org or your district spirit for more information on coming events.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Lying Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry.
We are here at Il Monticello in Meriden, Connecticut for the Melvin Jones Fellowship presentations. And our special guest is Douglas Alexander, the immediate past international president and chairperson for Lions Clubs International Foundation. So, on with the show.
En avant.
Good morning, Lions.
Good morning.
Everyone here okay in the back of the room? Excellent. I'd like to welcome everyone to our 2023 Melvin Jones Breakfast. We're here today to honor a number of Lions throughout our state who have just done a phenomenal job supporting their communities. My name is Ed Fenton. I am from the East Hartford Lions Club and serving as the MD23 LCIF chair this year. So again, welcome to everyone. If I could ask everyone to please stand. And Lion Sue Esty is going to lead us in a salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sue. And now if I could call upon past Council Chair Ev Lyons to give our invocation.
Thank you, Ed. Please bow your heads. Gracious Lord, we thank you for each and every one who is at this gathering today. You have blessed us with supportive Lions who care for the welfare of your people. Let us continue in that spirit of service, giving us strength and courage to engage in new avenues of caring and concern for those in need. We ask that you instill in our hearts our Lions motto, "We serve," as our guide for future action. Bless those who prepared our food this morning and all who may partake of your bounty. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ev. And now if I could ask Council Chair Lori Benenson to please lead us in our Lions toast.
With you.
Okay, you please have a seat. And I've been told that breakfast is ready, so I'm going to hold off on introductions until after breakfast. And if you'd please stay at your tables, the wait staff will dismiss us table by table. So enjoy your meal. Good morning again, everyone. I'd like to get the program started. Before we hear from our guest speaker today, I would like to introduce some of our executive officers and Lion leaders that are in the room today. Starting with our district governors. From District A, Governor Melissa Smith and her fiancé Giovanni. From District B, Governor Dave Roberts. From District C, Governor Sue Fisher and her husband Pete Neal. Our special guest today is immediate past international president and current Lions Club International Foundation chair, Douglas X. Alexander. We have endorsed candidate for third international vice president, past international director Mark Lyon and his wife Lynn. We have first vice district governor Terry Schlosser and her husband Rod. And both 1VDGs, Rick and Peter, had planned on being here today. They send their regrets. They had some sudden things come up. Our second Vice District Governors, Sue Herbert from District A and her husband Clark. From District B, Rod Shrestha. From District C, Eileen Akers. We have with us our council chair from District A, Lori Ann Benenson. And our council secretary treasurer, past council chair, Jim Bennett, and his wife, past district governor, Joe. And lastly, we happen to have our Area 1 leader for LCIF, for Constitutional Area 1, past district governor, Mary Crow. And we have quite a few past council chairs and past district governors in the room. If they would all please stand and be recognized. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize quickly our district coordinators for LCIF who helped put on this event today. From District A, Colette Anderson and Ed Haberly. From District B, Steve Daigle and Ed Lyons. And from District C, Sue Esty and Mary Crow. So next we're going to hear from our guest speaker. I'm going to ask past International Director Mark if he would come up and please introduce him.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Before I introduce our special guest today, I also wanted to mention we also have our area leader for the Global Action Team, past Council Chair Hillary Kumnick in the room. Thank you, Hillary. All right, we are pleased and proud today to welcome Douglas X. Alexander to be with our Kinetic Alliance. Immediate past President Doug and LCF Chairperson Doug is no stranger to Connecticut. He has been with us many times over the years as a guest for our midwinter convention. He most recently spent a great day with us at the park with the yard goats and did some great work for our LCIF presentation in 2021. We are very, very honored and pleased to have him with us. He has an incredibly busy schedule serving as chairperson of our foundation, and our foundation is doing great work which he's going to share with you today. His complete bio is in your program book, so we won't go into that, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce to everyone today immediate past President, LCIF Chair, Douglas X. Alexander.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Lions roar. It's indeed an honor and pleasure for me to be here on this rainy Sunday morning. The ride up was quite wet, but I was nice and dry. I had a driver. It's great to be a Lion. I had a very good year, I believe, as president of our great association, in spite of the pandemic. But I did not get to travel as much as I would have hoped to because of the pandemic. A lot of things got canceled in the beginning of the year. And then the travel started to pick up toward the end of the year. And then this year, as chairperson, there's a lot of travel, because I do remember when past International President Al Brandel from New York was chairman of the foundation. It seemed like he was on the road just as much as when he was president. So I was looking forward to continuing to travel. But since we had missed so much travel the year of president, we were trying to make up some of those trips as well. So technically I could be on the road 365 days a year. But I keep telling people, you got to take some time for family. You have to keep the balance of doing this line service. So I gave up my Thanksgiving last year for the first time ever, because the OCL Forum was the week of Thanksgiving. In the US, of course, in Korea, they don't celebrate it. So I made that sacrifice. but Christmas was non-negotiable. I was spent most of December in India. I left on the 5th of December. I returned on the 20th of December. And on the 23rd, I was on a plane to California to spend Christmas with my oldest daughter, my son-in-law, and my first and only grandson. Yes, family first. So I stayed there for the week, and New Year's Eve, I left to go to Georgia for the Peach Bowl. Now, our President Brian Sheehan, God bless him, and all the travel that he's doing, left, the board meeting in Minnesota in October. He did not go home until March. 5 months on the road. I take my hat off to it, but I keep telling him, you got to take care of yourself, because you can get lost in the service. And we love this organization, but we have to take care of ourselves. So when I went to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, he was trying to do the Peach Bowl and the Rose Parade in California. And he saw that they were going to clash, so they called me and said, would you be the Grand Marshal? I said, yes, I'd be honored to be the Grand Marshal. So I was riding in the yellow Corvette with the top back in the rain. But I was just so proud to do it. And my daughter, who lives in Maryland, her and her husband, they came up. So I got to spend Christmas with my daughter in California and New Year's with my daughter from Maryland. We have to make this thing work. Yes, we really do. And I'll just share my story with you. I joined Lions back in 1984. I was working as the manager in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. And I had gone to that community to get involved in community service. So I was approached by the Rotary. I was approached by the local Chamber of Commerce and a few other organizations in the area. And I had made a decision of, where I was going to get involved. And a gentleman came into the bank and said he had spoke with one of the senior vice presidents, and he told me to go into the bank and speak to me about joining the Lions. And I was like, oh, well, here we go again. Another organization. So I've agreed to go on a club visit there. And I have to tell you, I was really impressed with what I saw. Because back in 1984, women were not yet Lions. So it was a group of men sitting in a family-owned restaurant by the name of McDonald's. They served collard greens and fried chicken, all that kind of good stuff. But they were doing things to help people in the community. And that's what really pricked my interest. So I kept going back. And back in those days, the banks used to pay your dues. And they had bankers in the club before, but they were members in name only. They wouldn't show up for meetings. So I kept going back to the meetings. And we were preparing for our Thanksgiving basket deliveries. And I volunteered to go on the Thanksgiving basket delivery. Now, we would go in groups of 2. We'd identify 20 families in the community who had the names had been given to us as families that needed some assistance. And we went to a family on Putnam Avenue in Bed-Stuy. And we knocked on the door. We identified ourselves as members of the Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club. One line is carrying a 20-pound turkey and a gallon of cider. The other line had the laundry basket with all the trimmings. If you could have seen the look on the mother's face when she said to us, "Thank you so much. No one has ever done anything for our family." And I still get chills when I tell this story, and it's more than 30 years. And we walked away feeling so good about the experience. And all we had done was given a meal to a needy family. I often ask people, when did you become a Lion? I had joined a couple of months earlier, but that was the day that I became a Lion, when I knew that we were really doing something to make a difference in people's lives. I walked down those steps feeling so good about that experience. So I kept going back to the club, and before you know it, I was president of the club. But one thing they had said to me, because when I went there, I looked around the room, and there was a bunch of older gentlemen, I said. But then they said I called them a bunch of old gray-headed men, which I never said that. After 39 years, I joined that group, but see, I keep it cut kind of close because you can't really see the group. But we continued to serve in our community. And I kept going back to the meetings. Like I said, I became president, and I was supposed to become a zone chair, and I was like, but I'm president of my club, I can't do that. Oh, yes, you can, yes, you can. You get encouraged, and you can move on, and eventually I became a governor. 10 years in, I became a district governor. But I was always active in my club. Even if I held other positions, I did not schedule anything that would conflict with my club when I was serving as president. I joined Lions to serve. People join this organization to serve, and we have to give them that opportunity to serve our association, as well as to serve the public. In my district, we do not have past district governors serving as zone chairs, as region chairs, or as cabinet secretaries. We just don't have that. We have plenty of Lions who want to get that experience so they can build a resume they need to become district governors, vice governors, and maybe an international director, or even an international president. And I say, and when I often speak, is that are we giving our Lions an opportunity to serve? Not only to serve the public, but to serve our association and to grow. Happy members don't leave. We have to make sure our members are having a good experience. After all, that's why they join this organization, is to serve. And when you do that service and you see how it affects people's lives for the better, that's why you stay. You know that we truly make a difference. So I kept going back to the meeting, and we found out about the Bedford-Stuyvesant Volunteer Ambulance Corps. There's an ambulance corps started in Bed-Stuy by two gentlemen who worked for EMS, the Emergency Medical Services, because in Bed-Stuy, when you called for an ambulance, if they showed up at all. So they decided to start the ambulance service, and they had an old ambulance that was given to them by a more affluent community on Long Island. And our club used to write them a check every so often to put tires on it or put some gas in the old ambulance. But it was in one of our club meetings, and one of the members said, let's buy them a brand new ambulance. Well, it got quiet in the room like it is in here right now. And then you can hear mumbling, where the hell are we going to get $50,000 from? Well, let me tell you where we got the money from. Members started raising their hand. I pledged $500, I pledged $1,000. And we went to our foundation asking for a matching grant. And it was approved. And we presented that ambulance. And when we had the presentation, all of the local volunteer ambulance from all over Long Island, they all came and paraded down Fulton Street where I worked as manager of the bank. And to see that lead ambulance with the Lions logo on the side, knowing that it would truly make a difference in the community, how proud we were to be a part of that. But something that stood out to me on that, on the side, it didn't say donated by the Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club. It said donated by Lions. So for anyone who had made a donation to our foundation, you had a hand in making that happen. So I want to say thank you on behalf of the people of Bedford-Stuyvesant and the Bedford-Stuyvesant Lions Club for making that a dream of ours come true. And past International Director Mark Lyon asked me, how was the ambulance, I think it was the past council chair asked me, how was the ambulance place doing? Well, they now have 3 ambulances. And they train EMS technicians now, young people to become EMTs. All came out of support from our local club. That's why I'm still aligned today. It's all about the service that we provide to others. So to talk about our foundation, 1968, our foundation was started. So it's what, 60 to 50, 54 years? 54, 55 years old. In 1972, the first grant was awarded in the amount of $5,000 for flooding in South Dakota. I'm going there in about 3 weeks. One of the few states in the U.S. that I haven't been to. And in 1973, the Melvin Jones Fellowship Program was created. 1984, LCIF partnered with Quest International to implement the youth development program, Lions Quest. And I hope you are using Lions Quest here in Connecticut. It is a great program for our young people. We teach the teachers to administer the program in the schools, the social and emotional development learning for our young people, teaching them how to deal with bullying and the dangers of drugs. It is a very, very good program. In 1985, LCIF awarded its first major catastrophe grant in the amount of $50,000 for an earthquake in Mexico. In 1986, the Progressive Melvin Jones program was established. And in 1999, LCIF embarked on a partnership with the Carter Center to combat river blindness and trachoma in Latin America and in Africa. And I am pleased to tell you that we have almost wiped out river blindness in third world countries over the last 20 years working with the Carter Center. And the Carter Center that I'm referring for the benefit of who may not know, that's former President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, who is a past district governor and a Lion, even to this day. In 2005, where were we supposed to go for convention? For the international convention. What happened there? Hurricane Katrina. Over $5 million was raised for Hurricane Katrina back then. We wound up going where? Boston. Where are we going this year? Boston. Very good. In 2017, the 100th birthday of Lionism, more than 13,000 grants have been administered, of roughly $1 billion. We are now at $1.2 billion, more than 18,000 grants given by our foundation. Yeah. Now, you know we had Campaign 100 with a goal to raise $300 million over 3 years. But then something called pandemic, COVID-19 struck. And we saw a fall off in donations. And we were trying to figure out how to deal with this pandemic and continue to stay connected and learn new ways to communicate and to serve. And we came up with an idea of a telethon. And it was the very first one. We've had one after, and we're getting ready to have the third one on June 4th of this year. But we had a goal to see if we could raise $250,000 for the foundation. We raised $900,000 on the first campaign, but from the telethon. Last year, our current President Brian hosted it. We raised $4 million from them. So it makes sense to keep doing the telethon. It was something positive that came out of the pandemic. And you know, this was something also we learned, how resilient and how creative Lions were. We could have taken an attitude with the pandemic that we couldn't do things because, but instead of, we saw that the need for our services were even greater. And we found ways to stay connected. We embraced technology, and being an organization of older folk, change is not easy to accept, but so many people were able to step up to the plate and learn how to use Zoom. I told people I was zoomed out. I'd be on 5 or 6 different Zoom meetings in one day. And when you look at the time differences, I've been on Zoom meetings at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It may be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning here, but it may be 7 p.m. in India. But those are the things that we were able to do to stay connected. And another positive, I don't know if it happens here in Connecticut, but we have members in our club that have relocated, and they're still members of the club. They still support the club, but they can't be in the meeting. But because of the technology we're using now, they were able to participate in the meeting.
Hello again, everyone.
Carol, wasn't it great to hear some of that message from Doug Alexander? He is coming back next week, but such a great overview of what LCIF does.
Absolutely.
So that'll do it for this episode of Lying Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed our show this evening. Tune in next week for another Lying Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. Good night.
Bye-bye.